All right, guys, happy Monday morning and welcome to our first official weekly goal call here with the Crush It team. I am Matt Davis here along with my co-host, Mason Burchett.
How is it going?
And I've been looking forward to this all week ever since last week when we kind of put the intro out. We've been chomping at the bit a little bit to release this first little, I guess, mini episode that we're going to be doing. And let's not get too much into that because we're on a timer. So let's jump right into it, man. What are we talking about this morning?
Yeah, so the goal call today is about defining success. This has been a buzz phrase for me and you really through all of our podcast episodes. We've talked a lot from episode one. We've talked about defining success. Success looks different for everybody. You have to define your own success, which is true. So what we want to give you today is some tactical information, some pointed steps. Paul would appreciate that word.
Right.
Some pointed steps you can take to actually define your success, because that can be a little obscure, ambiguous, other big words. It can be a little cloudy, and you may not exactly know what you need to do to define your success. So we're going to jump into that right now. Matt, I want to define my success. I've gotten into it. I'm trying to change my frame of mind. I want to chase a goal. I don't necessarily know what that goal is.
Right.
I'm trying to define that. What do I do? What's the first thing I do?
Well, here's the thing. The term you're using there with goal. First, you got to get there. You've got to get a goal, and that's what you're talking about. And really, the first step of this is having a dream. And we hear that phrase used so much.
Yep.
And we use it, and it's again another buzzword among people in, chase your dreams. What's your dreams? And the reality is, if you're dreaming, you're asleep, right? And so at some point you have got to wake up, figure out what that dream is, and make it a goal. Because then once it's a goal, we're getting somewhere. Right. And so really, I think, Mason, the first question that you ask yourself is, okay, looking at my day-to-day life, let's say, and first we'll start with talking about career or job-wise. If money weren't an issue, if no risk were involved, and I got paid the same either way, what would I want to do every day? What would I want to get out of bed every single morning and do? What is my passion? What gets me excited? And that is so different for so many people. For me, it may be a certain, and we're going back to success here, whether it's a certain amount of money, whether it's a certain lifestyle, whether it's a certain tier you want to be at. That is different for everybody. And I want to make sure we make that clear, because we talked about it in our first podcast episode, is some people, certain statuses mean nothing to them. And that's okay, because success is so different for so many people. But I think the first question you want to ask yourself is, if I could take away all the deciding factors, because right now what I do for a living depends on how much money I make, what I can do to best support my family. And that's necessary. Okay, you have to do that. You don't always get to do the job you want, but when you're setting that goal and you want to figure out what is the end game, you want to ask yourself, what am I passionate about? Where, if I could take all these other factors out, what would I want to do on a day-to-day basis?
That's a good point. Yeah, so to take a step back and make sure we've got a good, solid definition of the framework we're laying here, we're talking about pulling your dream out of the clouds and giving it wheels so it can actually go somewhere. So think of it like this. You and your family have a dream home. Everybody has their dream home.
Right.
You know how you make that home a reality? You draw blueprints for it. So when you've got a dream home, you've got a home your dream to live in, you know all the things you wish it could have. It's just a dream. But when you sit down with an architect or an engineer and you draw out blueprints and elevation plans
way before you've got an approval on that loan or got that money sitting in the bank.
We haven't even started drilling for a well or digging a septic tank yet.
Right.
but we've put blueprints down. Now it's a goal, because there are steps. There are steps we can now take to make this home a reality. And so that's what we're talking about doing right now. Find out what that dream is, and that's what you're talking about, Matt. If there was no risk involved, if money was no option, what would you be doing tomorrow when you wake up? Okay.
Right. And the reality is, and you hear all these big guys. You hear Gary Vee, you hear Grant Cardone, Brad Lee, Ed Mylett, and the list goes on. Dave Ramsey. You hear them talk about write it down. Yep. Grant Cardone, his big thing is every morning, write down your goals. First thing you do when you get up. Every night before you go to bed, write them down, because there's something that changes in your mind when it goes from thinking about it to seeing it on paper. There's a lot of power in that, because it goes from a dream in your mind to actually, like you said, we've got a plan. We're putting it on paper. And don't just write down that goal, write down what it's going to take to achieve that goal.
That's right. Matt, me and you have done this when we've got certain goal for a project we're working on that we want to achieve that week. We'll share iCloud notes with each other.
You're letting our secret out.
With the checkoff.
I love that.
We do the shared iCloud note, and that way me and you are adding stuff to it. We can see when one of us checks off something.
And it's an accountability thing too. We're able to hold each other accountable for, hey, what, and it helped. It lights a fire under me, because it's a lot easier to let something go when I'm the only one that's going to see it. But now I know Mason's going to give me crap if I don't get it done. And so it's a little bit of an incentive, but it is important to have that written down. And I guess, for lack of a better term, it puts legs on your prayers. Is that the term that gets you?
Sure. Yeah. And so let's think about it this way too. You've got that dream. Now we have to draw those blueprints, which can be pretty intimidating sometimes. Right. So ask yourself this question, and you can help me word this out, Matt. When you're thinking about your dream, what is true in that dream about you that is not true right now? So what needs to happen? What's in that gap? What needs to happen between now and that dream for it to be a reality?
So here's the thing. Basically what you're saying is what am I doing that I can't be doing for my dream to be true? Or what am I not doing that's going to have to be happening in order for me to achieve that goal? And I think what we need to do is break this down on a much smaller scale and realize that every single day we are adding a brick to that building. We're adding a block. We're building that foundation. And here's the thing: if I waste today, that means I've pushed the final product off another day.
Right.
Because where I want to get to, it's going to take a series of work every single day. And if I'm not focused every single day, so at the end of every day, I think it's good to look back and say, hey, what did I do today that got me closer to reaching that goal?
Yeah.
What did I do today that is holding me back from reaching that goal?
If your goal,
adjust accordingly the next day.
If your goal is to own a landscape business, but you don't even own a weed eater, that's a good first step. If your goal is to be head of an IT department and you don't know anything about computers, maybe take a course in computer. You get the idea. What has to be true that's not true right now? And
exactly.
Take the first
Get
step.
out of your comfort zone. Make those initial small steps, because if you get into the habit of taking steps towards that goal on a small scale, when you have the opportunity to step into those goals on a bigger scale, you're going to be ready for it. You're going to be ready to say yes and take that big step to get a little bit closer to those goals.
That's right. All right. And speaking of goals, Matt, we've got a lot of those we have to knock out this week. And so we are going to wrap this one up. Thanks, guys, for joining the Goal Call.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Hope that helped. And we are excited about launching these every single week. If you have a suggestion you want us to go over in our weekly Goal Call, please shoot us a DM, call us, text us, email, Venmo, whatever. Whatever. Get in contact with us. We'd love to hear from you.